Hi, welcome back to Herbal Bunny's Pharmacy. I'm Dr. Tamitha Davis, and this is my little man, Elijah, aka EJ. So I didn't realize my last video, I didn't have my, because I record everything on my phone, I didn't have my phone tilted sideways, so when you look at the video, it's like, so I'm re-recording my last video, so yeah, so it's not like weird. In the video, I talked about the 10 vegetables that I believe to be the easiest vegetables to grow. If you're new at gardening, you're thinking about doing some gardening and you don't know where to start, or you've gone, which I have in the past, speaking from experience, I've gone to a store and I've bought like tons and tons of seeds, got some seed starting trays and some soil, and I put the seeds in there, and I didn't educate myself on what I was need to be growing in the area. I wasn't, educating myself on soil conditioning, what's the first true leaves like, the importance of fertilizing when you're growing in trays. So I want to kind of talk about that in this video. Starting out, my best advice to give you is that you want to grow something that you're going to actually enjoy, what you like to eat, what your family likes to eat. It's a little frustrating when you go and you buy something and you grow it and you're like, okay, I don't even like this. I don't eat Brussels sprouts. Why am I growing Brussels sprouts? So they either go to waste or you can donate them or whatever. But really, when you're trying to hone in on seeds that you're buying to grow food for yourself, pick about 5 things that you actually would enjoy eating. Also want to take in consideration what is growing in your area. For instance, I can't grow pineapples because my climate is not suited for pineapples, so therefore I probably don't want to try to grow something that's not going to survive or thrive or grow in my area. When you're growing things indoors, you have to take in consideration how fast the plant grows. So for instance, things in the squash family, zucchinis or butternut squash, things like that, are best if you direct seed sow, because they grow so fast that they're going to outgrow the pot, and you're going to either be battling with transplanting several times while they're indoors unless you plant them in something big enough. But those are things that's going to do best if you actually grow them outside. Same goes with anything that you're going to be eating the roots. You don't want to be disturbing the roots, so like beets and turnips, carrots, things like that. You're going to want to start those direct seed sow into the ground. To be quiet. Mommy's making a video and you're being noisy. So on the back of the seed packets, it's going to say start indoors between such and such amount of time. So anything that is like 10 to 12 weeks, I would consider starting them in a larger pot, maybe something like this size instead of a seed starting tray, just because they're going to be indoors for 12 weeks, 10 to 12 weeks. That's a long time. So I would probably start them off in something bigger. If it's something that's like 4 to 6 weeks, or maybe even 6 to 8 weeks, 8 weeks is kind of pushing it in my book, I would probably still start them in the bigger pot. But anything that's like 4 to 6 weeks, you can do the seed starting trays. All right, let's get into the top 10 veggies that I believe to be the easiest to grow. The first on the list is tomatoes. I have had such great success with growing tomatoes. I would do the tomatoes in a larger pot. I would fill this halfway up with the seed starting soil with a little bit of potting soil in it and a little bit of fertilizer mix. I would maybe do some worm castings or something and wait until they grow up out of the pot, and then I would fill the rest of the pot up. So tomatoes have a hairy stem, and those little hairs can actually turn into roots to give it a stronger foundation. So definitely start your tomato plants in a larger pot and let them grow, just do halfway, let them grow, then fill it up with soil to have a better root system. The next one on the list would be peppers. And again, I would do peppers in a larger pot because they are a 10 to 12 week indoor start plant. And I would do the same way with the tomatoes, do halfway with the soil and then let them grow up a little bit. Then you can fill in the dirt for the rest of the way, so that way they'll have a better root system. The next one would be strawberries, and strawberries also, again, they need to be started indoors at like 10 weeks. So I would do a larger pot. They're very easy to grow. Warning, strawberries will take over your whole entire world if you let them. So container growing strawberries, if you don't want them to literally take over everything, and they have little runners on them, so they're very easy to transplant. They just have these little runners and then they grab into the ground and have another root system, so you can actually transplant. Make sure you have enough soil and you can transplant those. They grow in very, very poor soil. At least they do out here. And from my research, they do in other places. That's why they just kind of just go all over the place. But I would start them in a larger container as well. Now the rest of these are going to be direct seed sowed outdoors. I would start with anything in the squash family. So butternut squash, spaghetti squash, acorn squash, pumpkin, the yellow crookneck squashes, all those direct seed sow. They grow really, really fast. They grow awesome around here. With the like zucchini, you want to make sure you pluck them when they're just a few inches. As long as you keep doing that, it's going to keep on flowering. It's going to keep on giving you more of the squash, and you just keep on harvesting. One year I counted 42 squashes, or the zucchinis, from one plant. So they are great. They grow very fast. You have to keep an eye on them, otherwise they will get ginormous and you're making zucchini bread. The next ones would be things like beets, turnips, and radishes. Those are the three that I've had great success with growing. You want to direct seed sow those ones, cover them up. They're great cooler weather crops, and I usually plant some in early spring and then also when it starts to cool down a little bit, so like towards the end of summer. That way I can just have a continuous crop throughout the year. I've had them actually stay in the ground over winter and just kind of go out and harvest them whenever I needed to. And leafy greens like lettuces, spinach, Swiss chard, and bok choy, direct seed sow. Now with the lettuces, I like to grow them thick and just in rows and let them grow. And then you cut them once they get so high, and usually get about 3 harvests off of them. Unless you're growing them for the head, then you do want to space them out. Now anything that you're growing for the leaf, you want them in like partial shade. Anything that you're eating for the root, you're going to want those in full sun. Remember, if you're eating it for the fruit or the root, you want them to be in more sun. And if you're eating it for the leaves, you can leave them in the shade. Last thing I want to talk about is some companion plants that will help to ward off some of the pest, like little bugs that come by and just gobble up your fruit and your vegetables. So 3 things I like to plant: Alysium, Marigold, and Basil are the 3 that I have had such great success with. I also have ladybugs that come around that gobbles up the aphids, and I have garden snakes. Yes, I will go and I will find them and I will put them in my raised beds. They make their little home there so that way they can eat some of the bugs and stuff that's there too. So value your spiders, value your ladybugs, value your garden snakes. They're not going to hurt you. You just kind of steer clear of them, but do your companion plant and you'll have a great successful garden. Hey, thanks for hanging out with me and the baby. I now have a mess to clean up because that whole stack of pots is now everywhere on the floor. You all missed it because I had the camera off. But yeah, he's ready. Future gardener here. He is ready to start planting. We're going to get ready because next week is 12 weeks before our last frost. So we're going to be getting our 12-week veggies planted into these pots. I'm super excited, you guys. And I'll hopefully get to take you guys along with me on that little journey so you guys see the little plants grow as long as you watch this little guy grow too. All right, you guys. See you in the next video. Bye.
You're not supposed to eat the bottom of the pot.
Oh my goodness. Look at that face. It's so in turmoil.